MOSAIC, a daily news program from Link TV, presents a selection of news reports from independent and state-controlled broadcasters from throughout the Middle East.
A new wave of explosions hit Baghdad, killing 8 and injuring 70 others. This comes as the new designated Iraqi Prime Minister Jawad Maliki is working to form a government that is inclusive to Sunnis, Shiites, and Kurds, hoping to end sectarian violence that may lead the country into a civil war.
Baghdad was subjected to a wave of booby-trapped cars that killed and injured many people. In the early hours of the morning, 7 cars exploded in different areas in Baghdad. 2 exploded outside the entrance of the Mustansiriya University, killing 3 and injuring 15 others.
عند مدخل الجامعة المستنصرية مما أدى إلى مقتل 3 أشخاص وإصابة 15 آخرين بجروح.
سيارة مرسيدس هذه
The Mercedes car exploded first, and then everybody, including women, came to the Mustansiriya University. Then all of a sudden, another exploded. In total, 2 cars exploded.
سيارتين انفجرت.
كما انفجرت سيارة ثالثة.
A third vehicle exploded in the Tahririyat Square, injuring 8 people. A 4th car exploded near the Ministry of Health as a police patrol was passing, killing 3 and injuring 25 others. In the Ghadir area in eastern Baghdad, 2 cars exploded simultaneously, injuring 9, including some police officers. A 3rd one exploded in the Babel area north of Baghdad.
المعظم شمال بغداد.
1 booby-trapped car exploded in front of us. The explosion killed the 3 civilians and injured the 20 others. 10 cars were damaged.
وفي هجوم آخر أصيب 3 أشخاص بجروح.
In a separate attack, 3 people were injured, including some police officers, when armed groups clashed with the police in the Mansour area in the heart of Baghdad. 5 members of the Interior Ministry's Maghawir brigades were also injured when an explosive device went off in Al-Bayya'a area south of Baghdad. 6 people were injured in the Dura area when city residents and workers were attacked by unknown armed assailants. 9 others, including 6 soldiers, were injured when a booby-trapped car exploded as an Iraqi army patrol unit was passing through in Muhammadiyah, south of Baghdad. 15 bodies of volunteers who worked for the security forces were found. The killings happened in mysterious circumstances west of Baghdad.
في ظروف غامضة غرب بغداد.
To follow up on the explosions that rocked the Egyptian resort of the town of Dahab in the Sinai Peninsula, we are joined by our correspondent Hani Amara, who is on his way to the Sinai. What are the latest developments given by the Egyptian Security Authority?
يعني دعني أشرح تفاصيل المشهد في الذهب كما تريدون من مصادرنا التي نتابعها لحظة بلحظة بداية من التفاوت في الحصيلة ما بين البيان الرسمي.
Let me explain the situation in the city of Dahab as our sources provide us with updates as information develops and becomes available. There are variations in the number of casualties reported by government official sources and accounts of eyewitnesses. According to the Ministry of Interior, the explosion has killed nearly 14 people and injured nearly 70 others. However, eyewitnesses confirmed that the Dahab bombing attack killed 33 people and injured more than 150 others.
لا يقل عن 120 جريحا بعضهم حالته خطيرة لا يزالون في المستشفيات. القتلى معظمهم من المصريين سواء من العاملين البسطاء في هذه المدينة أو المنطقة الضيقة أو من السائحين المصريين خاصة وأن اليوم هو شم النسيم وعادة يخرج المصريون في هذا اليوم إلى مثل هذه المناطق للاحتفاء بهذه.
I think that some of the victims who sustained minor injuries have already been discharged from hospitals. However, at least 100 120 victims with moderate to serious injuries remained in local hospitals. Most of the victims killed were Egyptian workers employed in hotels in this area or Egyptian tourists celebrating the Spring Festival. Egyptians usually visit resort areas to celebrate and rejoice during the spring holiday. The second explosion was much stronger than the first one, according to a number of sources, including a source affiliated with the Israeli embassy in Cairo. None of the victims were Israeli nationals. However, this resort city is often crowded with Israeli tourists. The second explosion, which hit just 40 meters from the first one, caused more chaos and panic among people. The town of Dahab is very small, and it only has one ambulance and one hospital. Many volunteers use their private cars and passenger minibuses to transport many of the victims to hospitals in the city of Sharm el-Sheikh, which is located nearly 100 kilometers from the town of Dahab. The chaos that followed the explosions, the lack of emergency response team, and public disorder may help the responsible party or parties escape. There are many questions that remain unanswered.
نقل المصابين إلى مدينة شرم الشيخ. أيضا أحب أن أشير إلى علامات الاستفهام التي تحلق فوق المكان، يعني من وراء هذه التفجيرات؟ هل هي تنظيم من عدمه؟ من ينظر له أيضا ومن يخطط له؟ هناك شعور شائع في الأوساط التي تحدثنا إليها في هذه المنطقة بأن وراء هذه التفجيرات بالتأكيد.
Who is behind these attacks? Who instigated and planned them? Many Egyptians believe that the responsible group wanted to get back at the Egyptian government for the way it handled the Sharm el-Sheikh bombing attacks nearly 3 years ago. The Egyptian authority launched a wide-scale security operation cracking down and randomly rounding up suspects. However, some believe that there may be a sleeping cell in the area which may have carried out these attacks.
A Jordanian Supreme Judge adjourned the trial of Sadiq al-Rishawi without disclosing a date of when the trial will resume. Sadiq al-Rishawi carried out suicide bombings targeting hotels in Amman. Al-Rishawi is waiting to be assigned a defense lawyer by the court after she declared to the judge that she had no money and knew no one in Jordan to help her.
A military trial is currently underway for a woman whose explosive belt failed to detonate. Sajida al-Rishawi is one among a group of people who turned Jordan upside down. She's being tried alone while her partners are unaccounted for. A mechanical failure prevented Sajida al-Rishawi from accomplishing her goal in the Radisson SAS hotel in one of the worst terrorist attacks in Jordan. The attacks killed 60 people and wounded hundreds of others. The State Security Court adjourned the trial because al-Rishawi was not represented by a lawyer. She asked the Jordanian lawyer syndicate to assign her a defense lawyer.
We have not made any decision so far. We are carefully looking over the case and will study the judge's decision. I do not know why they involved the lawyer syndicate in this case. In any event, the defendant is innocent until proven guilty. So we haven't made any decisions yet. We don't want to affect public opinion. We are studying the case carefully, and based on our findings, we will make our final decision.
Among the charges being brought against al-Rishawi are conspiracy to commit murder and possession of an explosive device. A lawyer is required during the trial. Abu Musab al-Zarqawi's popularity plummeted significantly after the hotel suicide bombings. The coming court sessions will reveal whether Sajida al-Rishawi is a victim or a criminal. After the unfortunate Amman bombings, al-Rishawi escaped to the town of Salt seeking protection from her in-laws. The people of the district are hoping for a just punishment. This is not resistance, it is terrorism.
Violence and bombing attacks continue to sweep through the streets of Iraq, killing dozens more of innocent Iraqis. 7 Iraqis were killed and 22 others were wounded in sporadic attacks north of Baghdad. Moreover, the body of Taha al-Mutliq, the brother of the head of the Sunni National Accord Front, Salih al-Mutliq, was found. Taha was kidnapped by unknown assailants nearly 2 weeks ago.
Amidst ongoing violence that has been targeting civilians, the political and security situation continues to deteriorate in Iraq.
Why is the blood of Muslims being shed? Where is the Iraqi government? Why do Iraqis have to lose their lives? These perpetrators do not care about the security of Iraq. They commit these crimes for financial gains.
رد الفعل هذا جاء عقب ما شاهده هذا المواطن.
According to an Iraqi police source, a roadside bomb targeting an Iraqi army vehicle exploded on the Sa'doun Street, downtown Baghdad, killing a civilian and injuring 3 others, including a security officer. In another development, unknown assailants, either police officers or armed men, stormed into the headquarters of a trade company in Baghdad, abducted nearly 12 employees, and took them to an unknown area. According to company's officials, the armed men are believed to be Iraqi intelligence officers.
هم من استخبارات الداخلية ولكن على ما يبدو فإن الشك لا زال يساور مسؤولي هذه الشركة.
They abducted nearly 12 to 14 employees, including some of my relatives. They took the victims, stole an undisclosed amount of cash, and drove away. They told me to come to the police headquarters in 2 days at 8 a.m. and they would advise me on the status of the victims, who would be appearing before a judge. However, they had not told us anything, and we are still waiting for information. They told us that they were intelligence officers from the 7th floor, but it was all lies. We're still waiting, and God is the most generous.
According to Iraqi Interior Minister Ben Jabr Saleh, a number of armed gangs in Baghdad used law enforcement vehicles in order to spread chaos and confusion among local residents. Meanwhile, 7 workers were gunned down in broad daylight in downtown Mosul by unknown armed assailants. According to the Iraqi police, 10 Iraqi workers came under heavy fire by armed men. 7 of the victims were killed on the scene and 3 were critically injured. The Iraqi Ministry of Interior confirmed that the workers were hired to rebuild a police headquarters there, which was damaged in an armed attack a few months ago. The City Council in the municipality of Al-Basra has confirmed that it will not allow the American and British forces to launch a military strike against Iran using Iraqi territories. Board members also confirmed that the United States-led campaign against Tehran lacks the legal justification and it only intends to expand the American military influence in the region.
Amidst
an escalation in the showdown between the US and Iran, in light of Tehran's refusal to suspend its uranium enrichment program, there have been some military movements by the American military forces along southern regions of the Iraqi-Iranian borders. In addition, the British military forces staged a number of military maneuvers along the Iranian borders. Meanwhile, the acting head of the Basra City Council has confirmed that board members and local residents will not allow the American military forces to use Iraqi territories in any military strike against neighboring Iran.
We will not allow the American military forces deployed in Iraq to use Al-Basra in any military attack against Tehran. We will prevent the American or any other forces from attacking a neighboring country. I hope that our relation with neighboring countries will gradually improve.
The City Council in the municipality of Al-Basra confirmed that it opposes a military strike against Iran because it believes fundamentally in maintaining a good relation with its neighbors. Board members stressed that they will do everything in their power to make sure that Iran is not attacked from Al-Basra.
Of course, we will not allow the territories of Al-Basra to be used in launching attacks against Iran. I assure you that we meant it when we talked about martyring. It wasn't a slip of the tongue. Iraqis are known for their willingness to offer the ultimate sacrifice for the sake of their principles and land.
In another development, board members at the Al-Basra City Council had confirmed that US-led campaign against the Islamic Republic of Iran lacks the legal justification. All countries have the right to possess nuclear technologies for civilian purposes. The American administration is only trying to expand its military influence in the region.
لا يوجد أي مستند قانوني أو وثيقة
There isn't any legal document that the United States or any other country can present to prove that Iran is using nuclear technology for military purposes. Therefore, this US-led campaign and political escalation against Tehran has only one objective, which is to expand American military influence in the region.
The city council in the municipality of Al-Basra confirmed that it will not allow the American forces from launching a military attack against Iran from southern Iraq, adding that local residents will not stand silent if an attack is carried out from there.
Despite the deteriorating security situation in the town of Fallujah and the bloody events that it is witnessing, a new police station was built in the downtown area.
Al-Fallujah is a town characterized by heroism and martyrdom. Its sons and daughters have sacrificed their lives to maintain their dignity and defiance. al-Masajid, or the city of mosques, is the name by which Al-Fallujah has come to be known, before it was pillaged by the occupation and turned into a ghost town. After the Second Fallujah battle and the mayhem and destruction it inflicted on the town and its houses of worship, the occupation forces, aided by Iraqi national security forces, took control of the city. They made the lives of its inhabitants intolerable with frequent inspections, raids, and arrests. After all this, the people are finally taking charge of their own city to undo the injustice to which the city has been subjected. The Fallujah City Police has finally been formed. It is assuming its role step by step to secure the town. Several police stations have been established in downtown Fallujah.
Today, the Fallujah City Police is celebrating the construction of a new building, and so now the number has reached 1,269. We hope the average number in the coming months will be 1,500. It is expected to reach 1,700. Currently, we're at 1,269.
The police's role is not restricted to maintain security in the town, but to provide support to the people of Fallujah in times of emergency.
حاليا شرطة الفلوجة تقوم بدوريات مستمرة في الليل والنهار وكما تعرف أنه ساعات حظر التجول.
Right now, the Fallujah City Police patrols the area day and night. As you know, the curfew for vehicles starts at 10 o'clock p.m. when police cars transport the wounded and provide aid to those in need of help.
وتارة ينقلون الجرحى ينقلون العوائل وينقلون ما يحتاجون المساعدة.
The role of the police requires the help of the town residents until Fallujah is able to heal its wounds and bring things back to normal.
أجراس الكنائس في البلاد دقت هذا اليوم إذانا.
Church bells are ringing in Iraq today in celebration of Easter. Christians are hoping that their commemoration of Jesus Christ's resurrection will also resurrect the country. Interior Minister Bakr Jabr al-Zubayli sent his best wishes to the Christian community on this occasion. He also wished peace, security, and tranquility for all Iraqis.
Church bell sounds can be heard everywhere today in celebration of Jesus Christ's resurrection. Christians are singing religious hymns and praying on this holy occasion.
اليوم احنا نحتفل بعيد قيامة ربنا ومعلمنا يسوع المسيح. والقيامة كانت
Today we are celebrating the resurrection of our Lord and Guide, Jesus Christ. The resurrection for the first Christians gave them a whole new outlook on the world, a new outlook on life. So today we urge all the believers to look at life and the world and others with a new vision, according to God's teachings.
أن ينظرون إلى الحياة، إلى العالم، إلى الآخر نظرة متجددة بحسب ما يريد الله من عندنا.
Security conditions are shaky, but they did not prevent the Christian community from coming to celebrate their holiday and expressing their wishes for peace and reconciliation to prevail among the factions in Iraq.
On the occasion of Easter, we hope that the Iraqi people and all humanity will enjoy a renewed life.
We hope that this holiday will be a blessing for all of Iraq and that it will bring peace, health, and well-being. God willing, this country will be better than ever.
We wish a happy Easter to the Christian people in particular and the Iraqi people in general. This year, we hope that peace will prevail in Iraq.
Christians are celebrating their holiday in spite of the sadness shared by all Iraqis. Their hope is that joy and peace will prevail in all corners of Iraq. They are saying to the world, Happy Easter.
Al-Sumaria, Baghdad.
Efforts are continuing to push for the release of 3 remaining Bahraini prisoners at Guantanamo Bay. The 3 are among around 500 others at the U.S. military base in Cuba after the 2001 U.S.-led war to oust Taliban and Al-Qaeda from Afghanistan following the September 11th attacks. More details in this report by Maria Ramos.
In November 2005, 3 of the 6 Bahrainis imprisoned in Guantanamo Bay returned home after being detained without trial for almost 4 years. However, the remaining 3, Salah Abdul Rasul, Isa al-Murbati and Juma al-Dosari, are still incarcerated in the notorious jail. The U.S. lawyers representing the Bahraini detainees have traveled to Bahrain to meet with government officials in a bid to step up pressure on the U.S. government to secure the release of the remaining Bahraini prisoners.
We had what I believe were very good discussions with members of parliament, with the Ministry of Interior, with the Ministry of Justice, and also with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I feel a very strong commitment from the government of Bahrain to do everything it can to bring its citizens home to Bahrain. And I would say that I feel that commitment more fully during this visit than I did during the last visit. In fact, I think that the attorneys for the detainees and the government officials are essentially in full agreement about how we need to proceed, about the fact that the situation for our clients is very grave, and that immediate attention is required.
Bahraini MP Sheikh Adel Al-Mauda has been involved in the efforts to release the Bahraini detainees for many years. He's received several letters from one of the detainees, Juma al-Dosari, who has tried to take his life on several occasions. Sheikh Adel shared some of the details from Juma's latest letter, received just days ago following another suicide attempt.
I'm writing, and you may be asking, why should I commit a suicide? He said that the life is horrible and terrible. Everything in life now here does not mean anything to us, and it has no value at all. And it is what value here in the middle of these walls, which he explained it as when they are taken out and he goes back to this jail like a monster which is opening his crucial his terrible and horrible big mouth, explaining the jail, and then he will close his mouth, and there's only these 4 walls that you are facing. You hear no good news, no good sounds, except the shouting and the mourning of the prisoners there. So why should we live?
The U.S. lawyers representing the Bahraini detainees visit their clients at Guantanamo Bay approximately every 3 months. The testimonies of their first-hand experience convey the great sense of urgency to secure their release.
The level of anti-Semitic rhetoric coming from Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad has caused some to compare him to Adolf Hitler. Others have warned that the world cannot ignore the rise of radical Islam the way it did Nazism. A recently released documentary entitled Obsession makes the comparison. Here's a segment.
In the 1930s, the danger of Nazism was there. It was in everything Hitler wrote and said, in everything the Nazi authorities did.
Dann wird das Ergebnis nicht die Bolschewisierung der Erde und damit der Sieg des Judentums sein, sondern die Vernichtung der jüdischen Rasse in Europa.
In the corruption of a whole generation of German youth through the propaganda of Nazism in schools. But people thought, well, this is a German problem, it's a limited problem. We have our own problems, we have our unemployment. And I think the same is true today. They don't connect the dots. They don't connect the acts together. They don't see that Islamic fundamentalism is a global network and a global problem.
There is no terrorist threat. There is no terrorist threat. Yes, there have been horrific acts of terrorism, and yes, there will be acts of terrorism again. But that does not mean that there's just some massive terrorist threat.
We have to worry about terrorism. If terrorism had struck on the West Coast rather than the East Coast, some of the folks in Hollywood might have a somewhat different view.
People don't want to feel that this is part of a single threat. Because if you come to that conclusion, and I'm sure it's the true conclusion, then you have to do something about it.
If you ignore a real threat, like has happened in the past before World War II, then the world will pay with many, many millions of dead.
In Second World War, the West was sleeping. The Munich Accords came regarding what should we do about this Adolf Hitler who wants to take over Czechoslovakia.
Today, the press, by minimizing the potential threats, by ignoring the potential threats, are doing a tremendous disservice to the West by not alarming the people to what they should be alarmed about.
When you ignore what people are saying, when they're actively on a daily basis calling for your own annihilation, calling for the annihilation of your country, you're ignoring them at your own risk.
The same thing is happening now again. History is repeating itself.
I was a very intense believer in the Nazi ideology. And I know what a supreme dedication to an ideology can do.
From an early age, Alphonse Heck was influenced by the Nazi worldview. He joined the Hitler Youth at the age of 10, and by the end of World War II, he was a high-ranking officer of the Hitler Youth.
It is absolutely correct to say, if you can't learn from the events of Nazi Germany, you will not be able to grasp the true intent of the danger of the radical Muslim world today. You're simply hiding.
History has an unfortunate habit of always repeating itself.
The views expressed on MOSAIC are not those of Link TV or its sponsors, but of the broadcasters themselves. MOSAIC is made possible by a grant from the John S. and James L. Knight Foundation, which promotes journalism excellence worldwide and invests in the vitality of 26 U.S. communities, and the William and Flora Hewlett Foundation. Additional support is provided by the Firedoll Foundation and Henry and Virgilia Dakin. This program is brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. For a transcript of this program, to watch streaming video, or for instructions on how to receive Link TV in the United States, visit linktv.org.